today again. Today we're going to play a really epic game of Hangman, and I'm glad you guys already all know how to play Hangman, so I don't have to explain it. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing up here on the board. Mr. Norell is going to be relaying some answers to me so I can make sure I am set and ready to go on our Hangman game. So here we go.
You're going to be our modern day Vanna White.
Yeah.
The guy's name is Wheel of Fortune. He's not important to Vanna White.
Pat Sajak. Hello.
Oh, Pat. I see. Hi, Buster. Hi, Andrew. And Camille. Colton. And Sammy. And Eli. Zinter.
Camden. Man.
Right, I think.
Camden, you have to say hi to me too. I'm here.
Looks like you got it drawn, right?
I do. I have it drawn. Can y'all see that okay?
Yes.
Maybe I need to back up a little bit.
Oh, flip it around so we know
Oh, yeah.
what the spaces are at.
There we go.
Okay. So, folks, you know how Hangman works. Guess through letters. I'll shout them out for Vic Evers, and we'll get you guys going here. But the poor man. Be careful, the poor man. Oh, we got Lake Drew. Oh, yeah, and everybody's saying hi, Vic Evers.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
They didn't forget. We got R. We got R.
R. We've got one R. Way to go, Mackenzie.
And A.
Oh. Okay, there we are.
I see an A. Cool, cool.
Come on, Grovers. You all should know how to do. You should know this one. Ooh, did I hear an S?
For real. I see an S. Mackenzie is going. Mackenzie. Mackenzie and Eli are all-stars right now. We got a G.
A G. Ooh. I will also say that, Grovers, just so you all know, it's not chicken nuggets.
It's not chicken nuggets. What?
Much to Mr. Norell's chagrin.
Emma says N.
N.
I like this one.
All right. There was an N. Good job.
Two people guessing G.
D.
We got Lame. We got Brady.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a hard time showing you guys what I'm writing. Sorry. I'm just trying to figure this camera work out.
A camera workout. We got E from Mackenzie. Any E's?
Ooh, Mackenzie, you redeemed yourself.
Oh. We have an O. Blake thinks he knows the second word.
Oh.
Blake, what letter do we need yet?
The second word is and.
We already got G.
Oh, no. Yes, you did. That's my bad, you guys. I'm so sorry. It is an and.
Okay, there we go.
I was just tricking you guys. Just tricking you. I see an M on here.
Any letter. Y.
Y? Ooh.
You guys totally know this state.
Oh, wait.
right?
Just one leg. Sorry.
No. Let's give us a good view of it.
If Mrs. Fettig is on here, she's going to be... Oh, she is on there. Fettig, I'm so sorry about my art skills.
Oh!
Mackenzie!
L.
But
Oh, we're guessing.
we got it.
We got lots of L's coming in.
Pickle and a dollar.
Way to go, folks. You know us.
Too well.
This is not a pickle and a dollar challenge because we can't give you guys pickles or dollars right now. So.
I have an idea, Mr. Norell. Just have them go to their fridge. I bet most of them already have pickles in their fridge.
Yeah, I mean, pickles last forever. If you go to your fridge, you can probably find a pickle, and you dig around in the couch cushion, you can probably find $1 somewhere, or at least a point to be $1. Maybe? Question mark?
Maybe.
All right, folks. Second game here. This one is super important. It even has
We do not have any U's. Sorry, Zinter.
All right, give us a good view of it again. All right, do we have any L's? L's. The letter L.
No L's. Oh, you guys aren't doing so hot right now. We need to get some
Do we have any H?
H. We have one H.
An H. Do we have any R?
R. Oh, do we ever have some R's?
Okay, this is the Christian version of Wheel of Fortune. You're right. We have several R's. Everybody's in.
Oh, Leif just got it.
Oh, I see it.
Leif.
Hardcore. Faith over fear.
Nice job, Leif. Way to go, you guys.
McKenna and I only see those two. They're both. Yeah, yes. Anyway, technically McCammers.
Okay, so faith over fear, you guys. You know, this is, I think, something we've been hearing a lot about over the last couple of weeks. Faith over fear. And honestly, if you're anything like me, I've been like, dude, what does that mean and how do I do that? Because this is a scary time we're living in. And honestly, the news over the weekend, it was telling us to brace ourselves for the week coming up because it was going to be a scary week in our country and in the world. And so it's sort of like one of those things where I kind of just want to know, like, what does that even mean when we're supposed to choose faith over fear? And how can we even do that? And so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about one of my favorite Bible stories. I say that for everything, and you guys already know that. I say they're all my favorite because it's just such a good book. But anyway, it comes from Mark chapter 4, and I was just listening to a devotion the other day from one of my favorite preachers, Andy Stanley, and he was talking a little bit about this story, and he brought a new perspective to it for me. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that on this Holy Week. In case you guys forgot, it's Holy Week. This is a really big week. Yeah. And so the story from Mark chapter 4 is a story of the disciples. They all go out into this boat, right? They're just like hanging out in a boat. And all of a sudden this big storm comes up. Does it feel like a big storm's come up for you guys? Because we're not in school right now not because of a blizzard, because it's a beautiful, beautiful spring day, but because of this COVID, this corona crisis. And so we're not alone. The disciples experience storms too. So they're all in this boat, right? And the waves and the wind, they come up and they're just like, I don't even know. What are we going to do? Like, they're like bailing water left and right, trying to make sure they can save themselves. And then they're looking for Jesus because they're like, okay, dude, we're in this boat with Jesus. Where is he and what is he doing? And do you know the question that they ask him? They say, don't you care? Don't you care? Which we can kind of look back on, like in our day and age, and be like, what do you mean, don't you care? Dude, Jesus is in the boat with them. It's not like he doesn't care. He's hanging out in the boat. And so I think sometimes we are asking that same question right now. And maybe that's what where some of our fear is coming from, where we're asking this question of how do we have faith over the fear that we have right now? I think some of the fear that we're having is what's going to happen with graduation? What's going to happen with prom? Are we going to be able to go back to school this year? What about my sports? Like, I was in track season. I was doing baseball. Like, what now? What are we supposed to do? I miss my friends. I'm afraid of what my relationships will look like with my friends and my family that I can't see right now. And so I think there's a lot of fear that we're all experiencing. And so that question of don't you care, I think is something that we're all asking ourselves right now. We're all asking of God. And then Jesus does this really awesome thing because it's God, you know, like he can do anything. And it's like he turns around and he has this conversation with the wind and the waves and he's like, dude, stop, like just be quiet. I've got to talk to these guys about something. And he calms the storm. So it's the story of Jesus calming the storm. And then Jesus turns around and the disciples just ask this really great question, don't you care? And now Jesus says, does anybody remember what he says? He says, why are you afraid? And he doesn't even just say, why are you afraid? He says, why are you still afraid? And the reality is the disciples saw Jesus do a lot of really amazing things. He was healing people and turning water into wine. Like, he was doing really amazing things, but they still were having a hard time focusing and trusting and having faith in him over the storm that they were in. It's almost like he could have asked this question instead of saying, why are you afraid? He maybe could have said something along the lines of, like, Do you really believe that this storm is bigger than me? Because sometimes I think we put our faith in the storm. We believe that the storm is going to overcome us and take over us. But the reality is God's bigger than that. And so I think we can learn two things from this story. The first is that with Jesus being in the boat, you guys, God's in the boat with us. So we don't need to be afraid because God's already in our boat. He's here with us. We believe that God never leaves us. God never forsakes us. And so we have our God with us in the boat. And the second thing that I think we can learn from this is that Jesus is bigger than any storm. He's bigger than the storms that we face. And man, it's a tough storm out there. And we can choose to believe that the storm is bigger. Or we can choose to believe in a God that's with us and a God who's bigger than the storm. And so that would be my encouragement for all of you this week, that you remember that in this Holy Week. You guys, the disciples in this week, they felt a lot of fear. Their leader had died. Can you imagine if the one you believed was the Savior of the world, and then he dies? A criminal's death on the cross. Man, they must have felt a lot of fear. In fact, they did, because Acts tells us they were basically like hiding out in a room. They were so afraid of what was going to happen to them next. But we all know the end of this story. And by the way, spoiler alert, Jesus wins. That's the exciting thing. And the grave was empty. And so for this Holy Week, be reminded that God is with us in this storm. And not only that, but God is bigger than the storm. We love you guys, and I just am praying for all of you, all of your families this Holy Week. This is going to be a weird Easter, but man, you guys, this is going to be an Easter for the books. I mean, write it down. Tell your families about it when you grow old like us, and it's going to be fun stories to be able to tell later. So we love you all, and
Bye.
this Holy Week.
Bye.
Thank you guys for coming to chapel.
Bye.